This isn't a video that I really want to make, but it's one that we have to make. And that is, how will a recession impact crypto? Now, recently, people like the rich dad, poor dad guy, Robert Kiyosaki, hasn't just said that a recession might be coming. He says that it's here, and he says that it could be as bad as a depression. So we have to prepare in crypto as if the worst situation could happen. Now, I'm hoping that this is kind of a temporary blip in the economy. I mean, we saw US stocks take the biggest crash this week, or while you're watching this last week, since COVID. So it's not looking pretty out there. And it's all about contingency planning and making sure that you're ready for whatever that market environment might turn out to be. So that's what we're going to cover in this video. What does crypto potentially look like if we do go into a recession? Anyway, before we get into it, quick introduction. If you're new around here, I'm Jacob Block. I am the founder of Magnet, a best-in-class growth consultancy company in crypto. So it's pretty much my job to have to be on top of the market as it impacts the work that we do in this space. I also wrote a book called The Magnet Method, which is an Amazon best-selling book on crypto growth, and I'm a member of the Forbes Business Capital. Just giving you a bit of context as to why I need to speak on this subject, and let's get straight back into it. Now, I first want to start by kind of getting into where this all comes from. So again, economically, we've not been overly that stable for the past couple of years. And since Trump's come into office, the biggest thing that he's done is pretty much create a trade war. And essentially what this means is Trump's putting on tariffs on imports into the US. Now, his thinking behind this is that if imports are more expensive, then there'll be better manufacturing in the US and they can produce their own goods, right? And that's one of his reasons as to why he's doing this. He also probably isn't stupid enough to realize that doing this wouldn't cause a lot of panic in the markets and also potentially signal a recession as well. And there's a few kind of people's views on why he's doing this. And one of them that stuck out to me was that the US has to refinance its, I think it's $92 trillion worth of debt within the next year. And they're going to be in a better position to do that if the economic conditions aren't great and people have to put money into safer assets such as US Treasury bills, which obviously gives an advantage to the US when they want to go and refinance something. So people are trying to, indicate that Trump is doing this for kind of short-term pain to get the long-term gain of having more manufacturing within the US, a better internal thriving economy, and on top of that, kind of get over their upcoming battle in terms of national debt in the US. So there's a few little bits of context as to why this might be happening, but hey, we can only predict. The thing that we have to look at here is that tariffs are potentially going to cause a recession. As I mentioned at the start of the video, the US stock market crashed almost 5% this week, which is a huge drop, the biggest since COVID. On top of that, the S&P, the index in the US, it dropped 6%. Other large indexes like the FTSE 100 also dropped as well. So this is indicating that this isn't just impacting the US, but also other countries, and therefore it could stem something more global rather than just US dominant. But how does this all impact crypto? Well, I'm hoping it won't be as bad as we might think, but it's very hard to judge right now. The first reason why is because if you look at how this year has panned out so far, crypto has followed the general kind of macroeconomic climate. And one big reason for this is because institutions are very invested in crypto now, and institutions follow the macroeconomic climate when making their investment decisions. Bitcoin, 14% in ETFs now. And that's a lot of the market. And as we know, where Bitcoin goes, everything else in crypto tends to follow as well. It is the king of our industry. So that's why we have been quite macroeconomic dependent. But having said that, when you look at the last week, Bitcoin stood up pretty well, especially when you saw the damage done to the stock market, which signals that perhaps Bitcoin won't follow solely the macroeconomic climate. But we know that it does to some extent because we've obviously seen that over the last few months. So we can't make a decision right now as if, okay, recession means crypto is going to go down because crypto is going to follow the macroeconomic climate, when this week we kind of went inverse to that and Bitcoin held quite strong whilst there was blood in every other market. And one reason as to why this might be is because Bitcoin's an alternative currency. And if the US crashes, the US dollar is going to crash. So there's going to be people looking to put their money into alternative currencies. And leaving money in fiat currency might not be the best idea, when it might not just be the US, but it might be other countries as well, and therefore their currencies are going to be crashing as well. So people are going to try and hedge against that and put it into other less traditional currencies, and Bitcoin is the clear winner there. And of course, in addition to things like Bitcoin and currencies, you had things like commodities like gold, and gold is printing all-time highs constantly, which is not a good signal for a healthy macroeconomic climate. So yeah, the point here is that if everything is falling and currencies are being devalued, people will look for alternatives. And Bitcoin is a very, very strong alternative, especially in the currency side. And on top of that, if we do see strength in Bitcoin, because it is being used as this kind of hedge, that could kind of give life to the rest of the market that follows Bitcoin. Again, there is no guarantee in that happening, but when you look at previous trends, if Bitcoin does really well, the rest of the market does. So our only hope here, really, coming back to the point of this video, is that cryptocurrency is used as this hedge against other assets, other currencies that are going to be battered by a recession. This really could be that point in time where digital assets have their moment to thrive, because traditional assets are getting completely wrecked. And the only thing to kind of counter that is, of course, digital assets are a lot more risky, and people don't really like risk when the wider economic conditions are very poor. So that is the thing that we need to see play out. We do have an alternative here. We do have something that can be provided as this hedge. However, we're yet to see whether a hedge with the amount of risk that crypto can bring in comparison to traditional assets is favored or not. Because you have to remember that we haven't had a global recession really since the beginning of cryptocurrency. 2009, Bitcoin came out, right? And this was on the back of the financial crisis in 2008. This was the reason for the creation of Bitcoin. This is what Satoshi Nakamoto formed Bitcoin's principles on, right? Because of what happened in 2007 and 2008 in the global recession. So it's going to be a super, super interesting time to be involved in this industry and see how it develops from here. And I guess my final point here is that crypto as an industry is growing every single day. In the last couple of weeks, we've seen various different exchanges, for example, which is an entrance point to crypto for a lot of retail investors, go for either planning for IPOs, or they're already publicly listed companies like Coinbase looking to make acquisitions, or they're finding for IPOs like eToro. These are signals of a growing industry. Even if you look at the volumes on chain, although they're down massively from where they were 3, 4, 5, 6 months ago, chains like Solana, for example, are still printing billions of dollars in volume. This industry is growing, and regardless of what's happening on the retail side, the business side is moving forward every single day. There is the ability to create value out of this industry every single day if you're on the business side. I always say, and this is the reason I set up my channel, that there is the retail side of crypto and there is the business side of crypto. The retail side of crypto is people that are simply just trading and investing in crypto. The business side of crypto are the people behind the assets that people are then trading and investing in. They're the businesses that are powering the future of this space. And that's why I'm in this industry every day, and I don't get too hurt by down market conditions. Because yes, I'm like you guys, I'm on the retail side. I do, invest in crypto and trading crypto, of course, but I spend most of my time on the business side. 24/7, we're doing business. 24/7, I'm creating a life for myself out of this industry, regardless to what's going on in the general market. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop a link in the description of this video, and it's going to explain a little bit more about the business side of crypto. Hopefully it's helpful, and like I said, it's a way for you to hedge your position in crypto. You can have your foot in both camps. So regardless of market conditions, you're still generating a living out of this industry. So I'm going to drop that down below, and I'm hopefully going to feature more content on the business side of crypto on this channel once I've got a little bit more of a following. And that's why I'm recording videos like this, where we talk generally about the market. It's very important that we know this stuff as a growth company in the space, but I really want to get into the weeds of the business side of crypto. However, I want to kind of build a bit of an audience first to then teach them about the business side of crypto. And the reason for that is because no one does teach about the business side of crypto. It's something completely new. And if I was just putting content out there about the business side of crypto, I highly doubt that people will just stumble across it because they're unaware of the opportunity yet. Only a very, very small amount of people are in the business side of crypto doing extremely well. All of my friends in crypto that have made millions and are super successful, they've done it in the business side of crypto. They've not done it in the retail side of crypto. So yeah, if you want to hear more about that sort of stuff, then let me know in the comments, and also make sure that you subscribe to my channel. But yeah, that's all for today. Like I said, there is no way to really predict what is going to happen next. If there is a recession on the cards, how crypto will react to that. There's a few different kind of camps that you can sit in regards to how you think this is going to play out for crypto. I'm unsure at the moment. Things are still developing on a day-to-day basis, but either way, if you're in this industry, you have to be on top of this sort of stuff. So I hope that there was some value in this video for you. And if there wasn't, then I'm sorry for wasting your time, but have a great day.